Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast tactical video. Today we're looking at the role and use of Reaver Jetbikes within the Dark Eldar army. These speedy gladiators and racers. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to another tactical video. Today we continue to look at the new Dark Eldar codex and talk about the Reaver Jetbikes and their role within the Kabbalite forces of the Dark Eldar. Or, of course, Coven forces. Or, of course, Witch Cult forces. So, of course, this video will be in two parts, discussing what Reaver Jetbikes are for newer players, and then discussing their role and use within the tactical army, and different builds and whatnot for the more veteran player. So, let's get down to it. The Eldar experience sensations to a greater degree than any other race, and their psyches are easily given to obsession. Reavers, having cultivated a taste for high-speed violence, are consumed with the act of the maximum impact kill. They scream into battle astride Reaver Jetbikes that move faster than the eye can see. Their aerobatic skill matched only by their desire for murder. Reavers fly with such an uncanny precision that they can take off a head or slash open a throat with a single pass of their jetbike's keel blade. A fatal blow delivered at a speed provides a murderous joy that Reavers consider the ultimate thrill. In the toroid arenas that girdle the highest spires, these vain and competitive riders engage in nightly death races, screaming round each arena in running battles for the entertainment of the bloodthirsty crowd. Reaver Jetbikes are super killy witches on bikes that go super fast, and let's kind of discuss what they are. They have a weapon skill, but a skill of 4, the same as any Dark Eldar like well-trained force. Their strength of 3, which is what is normal for a humanoid creature. They have a toughness of 4 granted to them by their jetbike. They have 1 wound. Initiative 6, so the initiative of a witch. They have 1 base attack, 2 in the case of a sergeant, and leadership 8, 9 in the case of a sergeant, and a puny save of 5+. So unlike other jetbikes, they're rather light in armor. Now, they come in a minimum unit of 3 for 48 points, which is about 16 points a model. It's fantastic. So at their stats, they're pretty much the same as like a witch or a warrior. They're just tougher, and that's it. Now, let's get to their war gear and see what makes them tick. They have a witch suit, so the 6-up armor. They have a splinter pistol and a close combat weapon, so they have an extra attack in close combat. They have a Reaver Jetbike, and they have blade veins. Now, these two are specific pieces of war gear for them, so let's see what it is that they do. So the Reaver Jetbike adds +1 to their armor save, and they are armed with a splinter rifle. Of course, as a jetbike, they are relentless, so you'd never really be shooting the pistol. You'd be firing 2 shots from the Reaver Jetbike at close range, or 1 shot at longer range. Now they also have the blade veins, which means that Hammer of Wrath attacks, which are with the jetbike, are made by a model with blade veins, are resolved at strength 4, and have rending, which is really good. The strength 4 is okay, means they kind of have like a furious charge when they blade vein you, but they are rending, so 6 to wound, and you can ignore armor saves, or you get an extra d6 for armor penetration against tanks, which means that now they can do damage against, up to armor 13 tanks, which is kind of cool considering they're just using their blade veins. So they do have a couple of special rules. As members of the witch cult, they use combat drugs, which means they could be +1 weapon skill, +1 ballistic skill, +1 strength, +1 toughness, +1 initiative, or +1 attack. Sorry, +1 leadership, +1 attack. Yeah, not +1 wound. I don't know if I said +1 wound. Didn't mean that. And so you could have them toughness 5. You could have them, weapon skill 5 or ballistic skill 5, or I think my favorite is the leadership one for the Jetbikes, and the toughness one and the initiative one, simply because it makes them very tough. Hammer of Wrath at initiative 10, then if they have a +1 initiative 7. It's kind of cool. They have hit and run, which makes them very good at jumping in, tying something up, hopefully surviving the next round of combat, running away, and then either boosting away to an objective or hitting somebody again with their Hammer of Wrath attacks. They do have night vision, like most Dark Eldar do. They benefit from power from pain, which means they get feel no pain, then they become fearless, then become furious charge, then become rage, and so it makes them better as the game goes on. Last but not least, they have skilled rider, which means they ignore dangerous terrain tests for moving through terrain, and they get +1 to their jink saves. This means that Reavers will be normally jinking. Even though they have a low armor save, their jink is a 4-up save, plus skill rider is a 3-up save. So they have good saves when jinking. Now, that means that they are very vulnerable to anti-cover fire, like things from tower with mark lights, or smart missile systems, or flamers. Anything that'll just ignore their cover will murder them. So be very careful when using them. Now, they do have a couple of options. They can include up to 9 additional Reavers, so you can have a maximum squad of 12. You can upgrade one to an arena champion, and the arena champion may take items from the melee list. Now, I have never run Reaver Jetbikes with close combat in mind, and that's simply because they've never really been in combat. I used to blade vein over units like the Screamers, the Demon Screamers do, where you could do damage by turbo boosting. But now you're going to see them in combat more, because you need to hit Hammer of Wrath attacks in order to do damage in combat. And it might be useful to give him an Agonizer or a Power Sword, but I haven't tested it yet. I'm excited to try it, so let me know if you have tried it already in the comments down below. So yeah, you can have a Power Sword or an Agonizer for the appropriate points listed. Now, you can also have, for every 3 models in the unit, so in a 3-man unit, 1 model, in a 6-man unit, 2 models, in a 9-man unit, 3 models, and in a 12-man unit, 4 models, can be armed with either a Heat Lance or a Blaster. So you can have, Heat Lances are an 18-inch range, strength 6, melter, lance, weapon. So you have to be within 9 inches to get the double melter, the double dice for melter, and their lance. So any armor value above above 12 is 12. They're very good. The only thing I don't like about this is that Reaver Jetbikes will be jinking most of the time, unless you boost them from cover to cover, which you can do because of their skilled rider. So I doubt they'll be using their Heat Lances very often, or their blasters. And for every 3 models in the unit, 1 model may take a Grav Talon or Cluster Caltrops. Grav Talon gives their Hammer of Wrath attack concussive, which can really help against high initiative monsters or monster creatures, things that won't die, and cluster caltrops. In my opinion, the best upgrade for them, at least in this edition now. It's cheaper than it used to be. It's D6 strength 6 rending Hammer of Wrath attacks, which is pretty cool. And it's relatively cheap. So for the cost of less than another jet bike, instead of 1 Hammer of Wrath attack, you get D6 strength 6 rending Hammer of Wrath attacks. So I can see them Reaver Jetbikes just being used as shock troops, but in a different light. So different kinds of shock troops. With their strength 6 attacks, they could be relatively good at ripping tanks up in close combat by just running into them. Doesn't make any sense in terms of fluff, but you could represent them, pulling crew off of hatches, or dropping grenades as they're flying by, or whatever it is you want to envision in your mind. But I really like the new role of the Reaver Jetbike. The Dark Eldar fast attack unit has always been one of the main selections within the book. So now we're going to talk a little about uses, builds, different things like that for the more experienced player. If you played Dark Eldar before, you know that the role of the Reaver Jetbike has changed completely. It's no longer a, sit back and just kind of boost over here and not get shot, and then boost over here and not get shot, and just kind of, if you ran multiple units, boost one and boost one to kind of murder a unit in the shooting phase without having to commit them. But now, I believe you'll see larger units of Reaver Jetbikes, 6 as a minimum, and then 12 as a maximum. Personally, I'm going to be running about, 9 or so, with cluster caltrops, because, 9 with 3 cluster caltrops, run them into a unit, and you just murder them, and really do some damage. And because they're so fast, they can reposition and go anything. Personally, as a Dark Eldar player, I'd use them to pick against smaller backfield units and just boost, they have a 48-inch range, 12-inch move, 36-inch turbo boost. If there's a large piece of line of sight blocking terrain in the back of the enemy deployment zone, boost them right behind it and just wait for your opponent to just get really nervous. So, conversely, they can be used as deterrents for assaulting you. Use them as a shooting platform. Just kind of soak up firepower with their 3+ jink and just kind of move them from side to side. In Maelstrom missions, they're super fast, so just move them to claim objectives that are very far away in the blink of an eye. But in a pinch, they can be used against very tough enemy units. So they can be used against tough monstrous creatures with an armor save, against Terminators with an armor save. Especially with a high volume of decent strength rending attacks, feel free to experiment with them. And because they're Hammer of Wrath, they don't suffer from the lack of grenades, because that Hammer of Wrath happens at initiative 10, whether you have grenades or not. So they can be great for flushing out units from cover. A couple of things I would avoid with Reaver Jetbikes are large horde units, unless you pair them up with a witch unit or something in conjunction. Reason being, you have to be able to have Reavers alive in order to take advantage of the hit and run later in the game. If you run in and Hammer of Wrath and they all get murdered, there's nothing you can do about it. So you want to plan ahead. You want to plan to hit, stick in combat, survive not just that round of combat, but then your opponent's round of combat, and hit and run at the end of their combat. So make sure you're smart with the Reavers. They're a lot cheaper than they were, so you can have more of them, but don't be afraid to play them well, and don't just throw them away. Everything in the Dark Eldar army has a purpose. And you can't just throw things away because it's not a Space Marine. They can't just rely on their armor save or their high toughness all the time. And of course, make sure you combine this with the combat drug that you have rolled for your cult units. If they're high toughness, toughness 5, and they now have feel no pain, great. You can go against power fists, you can go against anything like that and still get your feel no pain save. If they have higher initiative, you can run them against things like Gene Stealers and many high initiative models. So make sure that you kind of tailor that to what your opponent has. You know, if you're combining them with allies, you know, putting in an Autark with a Banshee mask, you know, to make the enemy's initiative lower, you know, to help you out because they don't have grenades. All that really helps. So make sure that you test it and let me know what you think down below. But there's a key thing to remember. Don't be fooled. Reaver Jetbikes die just as easily as Cabalite warriors, especially against cover ignoring weaponry. So don't throw them away. And don't be afraid to reserve your jetbikes. They are super, super fast. And when they come on, they can go anywhere on the board, and they will be a force to be reckoned on as soon as they arrive. So what do you think? Thanks a lot for liking, subscribing, and commenting on the YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. Almost at 4,000 subscribers. We will be doing a contest when that is done. This is Skari, your grateful host, signing off, and we shall see you next time.